I love how the first thing I see when I open up this session is love prevails. Which is true. Love always does prevail, my friends. I love every single one of you guys because you all are helping me grow this incredible community. Not just here, of course, also on Twitch, Instagram, all those lovely places. But if you didn't guess already or take a look-see at the title or thumbnail, we are going to be playing again with Aegon the Conqueror. However, unlike the previous time that I played as Aegon the Conqueror, this one is from the new Fire and Blood mod. And it's more than likely going to be a standalone, okay? So we're just going to go through this. The difference between this mod to the one that I have done before is this one comes with a whole bunch of story content. So I really want to get involved with it and see what it's all about. The Flight of the Dragons. 100 years ago, the world called my forefather Aenar a fool. Lord Aenar Targaryen, a lesser dragon lord of mighty Valyria, who sold his estates and moved his house, wives, children, dragons and all, to a bleak, smoking rock at the western edge of the world, owned no better counsel than the dreams of his daughter. 12 years later, the 14 flames tore Valyria apart in a single day and night, and the greatest civilization the world has known drowned in fire and salt water. Daenys the Dreamer had seen truly. Of all the dragon lords of the Freehold, only we endured. We are the last. For 100 years since, the century the world remembers as one long letting of blood, the daughters of Valyria have torn at each other over the corpse of their mother. I've had my taste of those wars. When Pentos and Tyrosh sought the aid of the young lord of Dragonstone against the grasping Volantines, I flew Balerion east, burned a war fleet to the waterline, and came home. The Lord's Magister feasted me and begged me to stay. I would not. There is nothing in the east but old ashes quarreling over older ashes. It is the west that has always called to me. It called to Aenar across 100 years, and now, at last, I understand why. We are going to be starting off over here. I have a good amount of inventory items. As you can see, we have the epic sword of Blackfire. And personally, between Blackfire and Dawn, these two are my favorite swords in the entire universe here. We have a good amount of dragon eggs, and then we also have the Crown of the Conqueror. So I am obviously going to go and put that on. Dragon eggs will have the silver, or I might be able to just give these to my Dragon Keeper. Wouldn't that be a better idea? But, you know, just for the heck of it, we're going to put those on anyway. Let's take a look-see at all these options up top. So I'm assuming his bond with Balerion is maxed out. Yeah, it is. So we don't have to worry about the historical lance of the Night's Watch. We don't have to worry about using Balerion in war. We're absolutely going to do that. Conducting a terror campaign. We're going to be conducting a terror campaign. That's for sure. We don't need this option. And holding courts, which is crucial. So, first things first, core artifacts, banners. And while I'm putting these down, just want to humbly remind you guys, if you are new, please start checking out the channel. Very active. Would love for you guys to be part of our growing community. Links for Twitch, Instagram, Discord, all in the description, my friend, along with the main channel page. Trying my very best to reach 50,000 Rantius by the end of the year. Don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning. Really big shout out to all these lovely people on the screen, my YouTube channel members. Really appreciate you guys supporting the channel in an additional way. And for everyone else, I hope your week has been going off well. Always wishing the best for you, my friend. Hope this video puts a couple smiles on your face. And ultimately, hope you enjoy. Let's go! So what's happening here? You will have the funds to rebuild, free labor, or plowshares. We do have an okayish amount of money. I kind of want to have some pleased peasants over here. That's popular opinion. Yeah, let's do it. What's your claim? To the Lordship of Hazewood. You know, you can have it after I've taken the whole thing. How about that? You can move to the court and, you know, enjoy my hospitality. In ancient times, okay, court grandeur increased by 14, or we get some renown. Well, our renown is negative 100. That's not good. I'd rather just get a jump start on that. Bring up to negative 25 instead. My business is done here. With regards to our lifestyle choice, we are going martial, obviously. He has worked a little bit in stalwart courtship, promising prospects. Kind of wish that it would have gone down the chivalric dominance or never backing down. But we're going to max out this one. We're going to max out this one. We'll see how long he lives for, honestly. But that's the first step. And then taking a look at our council. So my lady wife, of whom is my sister and sister wife and good sister, all the sisters put together, we are going to have you help us out with Shiv, Visenya Targaryen right over there. Aura Storm, the beast himself. There he is. There's a strong trait, too. You're going to help me out with Marshall. Master Rhaegar, do we have anybody better than you? I want Maegor there instead. Yeah, we might have to put Maegor in for our Marshall, though. Lord Celtigar, you know what? You just stick with collecting taxes. Marshall... Yeah, see, there we go. And I don't want to provide either of those guys. I mean, he's working best he can. We can have Master Rhaegal go over there, though. He's at 18 when it comes to his marshal, and he is a powerful vassal. Might as well make that happen. My spy master doesn't like me. Do we have anyone who's better? We have him. Just barely. Yeah, let's have you. Obviously, we're not going to be changing out Lord Daemon Velaryon from being our admiral, but our court chaplain is terrible. Hello? Can we have someone better? How about Baelor? There we go. Baelor, you go over there. Have some fun. How come it's still telling me that I didn't choose anything? Oh, because I didn't choose anything. Okay, so what do we want to do here? I think strategy focus is probably like the best one for him. Just boost that up as much as possible. So we're at 36 Marshall, and there's lovely Visenya right over there, and Rhaenys as well, along with their epic dragons, Vhagar, and then obviously Meraxes. We saw Balerion before, but I'll let you guys get a closer look at Big Boy right over here. As for our army, we have Dragon Hunters and 2 units of Mangonels. Why is one 10 out of 8? No. Okay, we're going to get rid of this one, and we're going to decrease the size to 8 out of 8. That'll help with our income. Then taking a look-see, Men-at-Arms, I definitely want Dragon Guard. That's just a given. And we're going to put the Dragon Guard in Dragonstone itself. And it would work because we have stone barracks, we have feasting halls, we have blacksmiths districts. This one will probably have to be changed out, if I'm being honest with you. And now that we have them, let's increase their size to 4 out of 8. We still have some money left in the bank, which is pretty good. So as for our current domain holdings, we hold this much, right? We're going to have to go after everyone else. Now, unlike the other mod, like I mentioned, the other one was the AGOT bookmarked. This one is going to give us a lot of special events as we go through these. The other mod would just be like, hey, you want to declare war on these guys, Iron Throne Conquest? Yeah, let's make that happen. Let's see what this one's all about. The Painted Table. Years ago, I commanded the carpenters of Dragonstone to carve me a table. They thought their lord mad by the time it was done. 50 feet long, 5 and 20 wide at its broadest, hewn from a single mighty block and painted, every inch in the likeness of Westeros, every river and bay, every mountain range and ruined ring fort, every castle and town and holdfast from Old Town to the Wall, set down exactly. My painters work from the charts of 100 traders and the accounts of 1,000 travelers. One thing and one thing only, I forbade them to paint borders. Wander the table's length, and you will find no line where the Stormlands end and the Reach begins. No seam dividing the kingdoms of the Andals carved out of one another. From the raised seat at Dragonstone's place, where I sit now, with the brazier cackling behind me and my sisters at either hand, a man sees the truth. Those lines were drawn to hide. It was never 7 kingdoms. It is one land. It wants only one king. One land, one king. The Arrogant Stag. Harren the Black's monstrous castle by the God's Eye nears completion at last, and 40 years of the Riverland's misery with it. A man who has spent a lifetime building the greatest fortress in the world does not intend to sit quietly in it. All Westeros whispers that Harren looks about for new conquests, and none whisper more anxiously than his neighbor, the Storm King. So Argilac Dondarrion, grown old and, for the first time in his proud life, afraid, sent an offer across the water, an alliance against Harren, sealed with the hand of his daughter, and a dowry of lands along the Blackwater to stand as a buffer between the Stag and Kraken. Lands, be it noted, that Harren holds, but Argilac does not. The old man offered me another king's ground. I declined the lady with courtesy. The blood of the dragon does not want for wives. I have 2, my sisters, wed as Valyria always wed. In her place, I offered the hand of Orys Baratheon, my dearest friend and, the whispers say, my brother, and asked lands with Argilac's actual gift as the dowry. His answer arrived today in a box. The hands of my envoy, salted like pork, and a message. These are the only hands you shall receive. The Arrogant, they call him. He has earned the name today, and he will learn the price of it. He'll lose more than his hands for this. So we've lost 40 opinion on both sides between us and the arrogant Stormlander King. The Lord of Dragonstone. The box sits open on the painted table. My envoy will live, the maester says. He will never hold a sword again. I have been patient. For years, the kings of Westeros have sent their ravens to Dragonstone, seeking my dragons for their wars, my fleet for their quarrels, my house for their daughters, as though the blood of the dragon were a sellsword company to be hired, flattered, and dismissed. Arglass insult is only the last and grossest of 100. They see a petty lord on a barren rock. They have forgotten what came out of Valyria and what the doom could not kill. I am done with the courtesies of petty lords and false kings. My house is the last scion of true old Valyria, and ours are the only dragons left beneath the sun. They have taken my patience for weakness. Every one of them, no longer. Westeros will be mine. We answer with fire and blood. The dragon flies west. I have called my banners and taken counsel, with my sisters, with Oris, with the lords of the narrow sea. The Valyrians and Celtigars, kin to my house and Valyrian as we are, were mine before I finished speaking. Lord Bar Emmon of Sharp Point and Lord Massey of Stone Dance knelt the same hour. Small lords, the kings of Westeros would say. The first lords of a new realm, say I. Then I sent the ravens, one to every king and great lord in Westeros, each bearing the same word. That from this day there is one king in Westeros. That those who bend the knee to Aegon of House Targaryen shall keep their lands and titles, diminished in nothing but their crowns. And that those who take up arms against him shall be thrown down, humbled, and destroyed. The maesters will note that I addressed no kingdoms, acknowledged no borders, treated the 7 crowns as 7 vanities. That was no oversight. I have stood at the painted table. I know what Westeros is, even if Westeros does not yet know itself. Let them read it in every hall from Sunspear to Winterfell. The dragon does not ask twice. There is only one king in Westeros. So every single realm loses an additional 20 opinion of us. We demanded submission from them. They obviously declined. 2 people, however, Lord Theodore and Lord Tristan, become my vassals. The Toad and the Hawk reply. The Ravens return, and 2 answers among them want remembering. From Sunspear writes Miriam Martell, Princess of Dorne, 80 years old, blind, immense, and cunning as ever. Her enemies feared. The Yellow Toad offers me alliance against Argalek the Storm King. Alliance? She will fight beside me, share the spoils with me, and yield me nothing. From the Eyrie, writes Shara Aaron, regent of the Vale, for her boy Ronald, with a subtler snare. An alliance sealed with her own hand in marriage. She sends a portrait, and word that she was once called the Flower of the Mountain, provided only that I name her son as my heir. She covets the east bank of the Green Fork, and would have my dragons win it from Harren for her. I have refused them both, the Toad and the Hawk alike, and in the same words. I did not send my ravens seeking allies. I sent them seeking subjects. There is no place in what comes for kings and queens who would treat with me as equals, for I have no equals in Westeros. Let them keep their crowns a little longer. I shall come for them in due course, and I will come beneath a banner all the world shall learn. I seek subjects, not allies. The 3 heads of the dragon. The dragon lords of Old Valyria kept no banners. The freehold flew no sigils to war. A dragon overhead was herald enough. But I do not mean to rule Valyria. I mean to rule Westeros. And Westeros reads the world through its banners, direwolf and kraken, lion and stag, falcon, and sun and spear. So let them have one to remember. Visenya has overseen the work herself. A field of black as Balerion's wings, and upon it a dragon red as flame, 3-headed. 1 head for me, 1 for each of my sister queens, for it is the 3 of us together who will do this thing. When the maesters of far-off ages write of how the 7 kingdoms became one, this is the banner that will fly over every page. Fire and blood on black and red. Let it be sown on every sail. 1 head for each of us. Raise it over Dragonstone. We get a little bit of prestige out of this, and obviously, our banner changes. King's Landing. We have landed at the mouth of the Blackwater Rush. Well chosen. The land is claimed by both Argolek the Arrogant and Harren the Black, which is to say defended by neither. Let the two of them quarrel over whose problem I am. 3 hills rise north of the river, a high hill, a wooded hill away to the north, and a lower one near the water. No one has yet trouble to give them names. That will change. On the high hill, my men are already raising a fort of earth and timber, while my sisters attend to our first task, the Lords of the Shore. Rantius has taken flight upon Meraxes to Rosby, and Visenya upon Vhagar to Stokeworth. They will bend the knee to their king, or suffer Dragonflame. A fort of logs today, a city one day, the maesters may argue over its name. Here, the conquest takes root. So we have gained the lordship of Rush Hills, the lordship of the Black Stripe, and it becomes our new realm capital. Okay, interesting. The first to kneel. My sisters return before the week is out, and behind them come the first oaths. Rhaenys found Rosby's gates open. Their old lord watched Meraxes circle his towers once, twice, and had his banners struck before she finished the third pass. He met her in his own yard, knelt on the cobbles, and offered bread, salt, and homage without a single bolt loosed. His seat lies a short ride from our 3 hills. His land runs with the chalk road toward Duskendale, and his house is old enough to remember when kings were smaller things. He strikes me as a man who means to serve whatever comes next. I can use such men. Stokeworth costs a little more. Visenya came down over their keep, and their crosswomen, braver than their lord, or perhaps only worse informed, loosed a volley at her. Vhagar answered with single breath. The roofs of their keep took flame, and the same crossbowmen spent the evening hauling water while their lord waved a peace banner from the walls. Rich farms, full granaries, and a full house that will spend the next 100 years insisting it was the faithful from the first. The scorched rafters will only make the tale better. 2 oaths then, and the whole shore watched. Hayford, Rook's Rest, the Antlers, and a dozen petty lords weighing dragons against the old crowns. Only from Duskendale to Maidenpool, where the Darklands and Mutants sit, has there come no word at all. The silence to the world has a sound I know. It is a sound of swords being counted. Bread and salt for the faithful. The Aegon Fort. The fort is finished, or finished enough for a king to sleep in it. We raised it on the tallest of the 3 hills, where I first planted the banner. See, I love that we're placing banners all over. That just makes everything better. A ring of raw logs and packed earth. A timber hall roofed in thatch and hides. Stables, a smithy, a longhouse for the men. Visenya walked the wall once and called it a wood pile waiting for a torch. She is not wrong. It will serve. From its gate, I can see everything I came for. The bay, the river, mouth, and the fishing village below, swelling day by day into a town of tents and mud lanes. Traders, masons, camp followers, septons, every kind of men who can smell a court being born. The small folk have already named the hills. This one is Aegon's Hill now. The wooded one to the north is Rhaenys, and the one by the water, Visenya's. And the town needs no maester to name it. Men simply say they are going to the King's Landing. Word comes at dusk that the Darklands of Duskendale and the Mutants of Maidenpool have called their banners and joined their strength. They mean to come and burn my woodpile. Let them come. Every king must have a seat, and mine will outgrow the both of theirs. This will do for a start. So, High Hill has now gained the Aegon Fort building, and we are instantly at war. Let's take a look-see at this. So, we have the castle holding over here. Obviously, nothing has been built, but the High Hill has, obviously, the special building of the Red Keep to begin with. Then the Duchy building has the 7 Gates of King's Landing building itself. But now that we're in our first conflict, we're going to raise up all of our men right here at the High Hill and get to fighting these Lords of Duskendale ourselves. That was a lot of text to read, let me tell you. But awesome at the same time. Oh, now you want to retreat? Just watch Valerian just swoop on in and torch them. There we go. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Head on over here. And I think we're just up against these 2 guys. Yeah, so we haven't lost at anything at all. They've lost a little bit more than half of their freaking army put together. Doom delivered. So Meraxes was the one that did this for us. Lovely. Killed Sir John Mooton. 94%. And they're bringing in an additional ally, and we're going to intercept if we can. Doesn't look like it. They're going to try to go to Bent Branch Keep, I think. Yep. Let's let them land there, and we'll chase them. Oh, nope. We'll probably have to fight in here, then. Province of Brandcastle is going to be the spot. 100%. Yep. You will kneel. A circlet of Valyrian steel. My sisters would wait no longer. A conqueror who names himself king of all Westeros, Visenya said, ought to look the part before the lords he means to rule. And there are lords enough to witness it now. New sworn and watching to see what manner of man holds their oaths. So it was done. Though no grand affair, a bare handful of lords stood witness in the Timber Hall, the new sworn shore lords and my own captains, with the banners of Darkland and Mooton hung fresh among my own. Before them I knelt to my elder sister. As our forebears knelt in the shadow of the 14 flames, Visenya set upon my brow a circlet of Valyrian steel, studded with great square-cut rubies. No Southron bauble of gold and velvet, but steel, dark and keen as the work of old Valyria. It is the only crown I mean to wear. Then Rhaenys' voice rang out over the ranks, and the word she gave them shall be the style of every king of my line that follows after. Aegon, first of his name, king of all Westeros and shield of his people. A few dozen voices where one day there will be thousands. And somewhere above the clouds, the dragons answered louder than any host could. 7 kingdoms do not yet know they have a king. They will learn. For I am king of all Westeros. I have now gained the hegemony of the Iron Throne title, gained the lordship of Blackwater Bay, adopted Crown Sovereign so I don't actually have to go through the coronation event, and I've adopted feudal paramountcy as the government type. I also kind of jumped the gun here, and that was very loud. I kind of jumped the gun here and kind of put it on to begin with because I do really like his crown. But royal blood requires royal recognition for both of them. Perfect. And the hand of the king. A crown is a weight, and the king who bears every weight alone will break beneath them. The lords about me understood this before I had worn mine a day. Suddenly, there was no shortage of counsel at the Aegon fort, nor of counselors hungry to be seen given it. There was never a question of whom I would raise first. Oris has been at my side since we were boys in the yard at Dragonstone, matching blunted swords before either of us could grow a beard. The court whispered that he is my brother, base-born of my father's blood. I have never dignified the whisper with any answer, and never once denied it. It was Oris who broke the lords of Darkland and Mooton on the field that won us our landing. Where the fighting is thickest, there he is. Where I am weakest, there he is also. So before the assembled court, I bade him kneel, and named him the first hand of the king. And let the realm mark well the words I gave him, for I meant every one. My shield, my stalwart, my strong right hand. Rise, my lord hand. North or south, a crown settles nothing, it only promises. Mine promises all of Westeros, and Westeros is held by kings who mean to keep it. In the hall of the Aegon fort, my council bends over maps. North sits Harren the Black, king of the isles and the rivers, behind the walls of Harrenhal. The monstrous castle his iron men wrung out of 40 years of Riverland blood and toil, finished, the singers say, on the very day I stepped ashore. 5 towers, like the fingers of a grasping hand, walls too high and thick for any siege ladder ever made. Harren thinks his stone will keep him. The rivermen who built it groaned beneath his yoke, and I am told some of their lords would rise for me, if someone gave them cause. South waits Arglak the Arrogant, the old Storm King, who cut the hands from my envoy and sent them to me in a box. His pride began this war. He is old, but the strength is not gone from him. And unlike Harren, he will not cower behind walls. There would be a certain justice in answering him first. 2 kings, 2 roads. Either way, the wars for Westeros begin in earnest. I also want this known. If I am mispronouncing their house name of Durandon, that's how I'm saying it, Durandon, I think I've heard it both ways. Let me know which one is the correct one, because I hate being wrong. But in this particular situation, I am going to go after Arglak first, because, well, he did send my envoy's hands in a box. So, go after him first. And we're going to march on down, but we do have some additional forces to pull from. And my Grand Maester arrives. Good. Watch your step. I didn't obviously hit that option, but we're going to go over here. And now we have to give ourselves a new admiral because we unfortunately lost. Now, hopefully we can fight this war and not be interrupted by the text. Let's just go over here and fight them in the province of Wineshield. They're going to definitely join in and protect the other side, but we will destroy them nevertheless. One gone, the last storm. For 2 days, the skies above the Stormlands have been black as a bruise. And on the second day, Argilac came out to meet us. His counselors begged him to keep behind his walls. Storm's end has never fallen, and no dragon has yet tried its stones. The old king would not hear it. He had no wish to learn what dragonfire makes of a castle that cannot answer it. He would not die roasting in his own keep. Better to trust the sword and storm, and meet his foe in the open field. So he came down upon our hosts with the gale at his back, rain falling in sheets, the ground churned to mire. And I will say this for him, it was well and cunningly done. His heavy horses smashed into our line, while the wet kept our archers' strings slack, and the same storm he trusted in kept Meraxes out of the sky. No dragon could take wing in that howling murk. For a black hour, the day hung in the balance. Then our center bent and broke, and the storm knights poured through the gap at the gallop, thinking the day already won. They could not know what my sister had set waiting for them at the heart of our host. Hold the line! Hold! The dragon in the rain. Any other day, Meraxes would have ruled the skies above that field. Not this day. The rain fell too hard, and the wind blew too wild for any dragon to fly. So Rhaenys did not fly. She sat Meraxes at the very center of our host, on the ground, wings folded tight against the storm, still as a rock in the river while the battle broke around her, waiting. The storm knights burst through our shattered center at the full gallop, and found her. Horses that carried their riders through arrow hail and shield wall took one look at what stood before them and went mad. And Meraxes, they will learn, needs no sky. She met the charge the way a cliff meets the wave. Dragon Flame at 10 paces cares nothing for wet ground, and what the fire did not take, her jaws did. Horse and rider together whole. The breach that was to win Argilac his battle became his ruin. The charge died where it stood, and what was left of the Stormlord's van reeled back into the rain, whipped by the gale past their king. Bring me word of how it ends. The old way. Twice Argilac was unhorsed, and twice he found his feet and killed the men who came to take him. Now he stands ringed by dismounted knights in the pouring rain, his guard dead about him, his hosts fled or dying, and thrice offered quarter. Thrice he answered with steel. He did not come out from behind his walls to be taken. Word was carried to Orys, and my hand, gods love him, did as I myself would have done. He bade the ring of spears open. He climbed down from his horse and drew his long sword, and called on the old king to finish this in the old way, blade to blade. An old storm of a man, last of a line of kings that runs back to the dawn of days, and the finest sword of my host, alone in the mud between two armies. Argilac the Arrogant shall have the death he came seeking. It remains only to see whose blood the rain washes away. So Orys fights with my blessing, in which we will play as Orys Baratheon, or this is Orys's fight, not mine. The gods shall decide it. So the possible outcomes are this. Storm King Argilac is killed by Lord Orys Storm, or he is killed by Meraxes. Either way, the gods shall decide it. The Storm King fallen. The storm is broken. Argilac the Arrogant is finished. His host scattered. His line's 1,000-year reign ended. And the Stormlands answer to the dragon now. The kingdoms that watch him defy me have gone very quiet. So all eyes turn north to the last king standing between me and the mastery of the East, Harren the Black, squatting behind the walls of the greatest castle men have ever raised. He believes those walls make him a different matter from Argilac. They make him slower, nothing more. And Harren carries a weakness no wall can mend. The Riverlands hate him. 40 years of the lash and the quarry built Harrenhal, and the men who paid for it in blood and sons remember every stone for the price. I am told there are river lords who would rise for any banner that promised an end of Ironborn rule. Good! Let them rise for mine. Harren trusts in stone. We shall see what stone is worth. The Black will kneel, or Harrenhal will be his pyre. Or, we need time to prepare before continuing the conquest. No, the Black will kneel, or Harrenhal will be his pyre. To the miserable King Aegon. Okay, this is different. I'm going to read this one. Of course I shall join you in this war. Our foes shall learn to fear the men of Riverrun. That is Edmund Tully, of whom has joined in our side against the Trident, which we're going to be going after soon. Excellent. Aura seizes the Stormlands. Storm's End's defiance lasted less than a fortnight, and it was not broken by us. Argella's own garrison looked out at those unfallen walls and my hosts and my dragons, and understood what no one needed to tell them. Walls that have never fallen have also never been asked to stop dragonfire. Rather than burn for a one-day queen, they rose up against her in the night, and delivered her to Orys's camp as a peace offering, gagged, chained, and naked as her name day. Orys shamed every man of them. He struck off her chains with his own hands, wrapped his cloak around her shoulders, and gave her food and wine beside his fire, and told her gently of her father's courage at the end. She has not yet spoken a word, they say. She watches him the way a caged bird watches a cat. Fear like hers is not mended in a day. But if any man alive can mend it, it is my brother. I have granted Orys the Stormlands as Lord Paramount, and to bind the Storm Lords to him, he shall wed Argella, and take for his new-founded House Baratheon the crowned stag of Durandon and their words with it. Her father's banner, her father's words. Nothing is taken from her line but the crown. Thus the blood of Durand God's grief is not ended, but joined to my own. Once an heir is born to them, the Stormlands will be held forever by my brother's line, and the fury of the storm will answer to the dragon. So long may the stag stand beside the dragon, or we could play as Orys once again. So it gives you two options to play as Orys after that whole situation ends. But long may the stag stand beside the dragon. So it says that he left my court for like a day, but now he's back. He's just gonna now have his epic look. And the Stormlands are now under our control. Inventory item, what do we get? We got the Crown of the Storms. Aha! A fine addition to my collection. You already know, like, this is me we're talking about. I'm going to give you Star Wars references at the most random times that you didn't even ask for. And we have some more men to pull from, so we're always going to have to raise up some additional levies at the High Hill. We still don't have enough to build on the keep yet, but as we continue to take more Lord Paramount positions and places, we'll make some more money. And there it stands, Harrenhal. We're going right for it. Go to the province of Milkstone first. I gotta say, I'm absolutely loving this mod. Absolutely loving it. Commander promoted. Are you good with your little dagger? Nope. But we'll take you anyway. Do we have anybody else that we can put in positions of power? So, like, my sister, Rhaenys, she can be the Master of Laws. Let's have Lord Massey be the new Master of Laws here. So where's their host? Oh, okay, they're over here. They're sailing down. Do I want to fight them, or do I want to just go after them? My son and heir, Prince Aaron. Oh, okay, cool. He is handsome. Look at you. Cradle mates, we can give you the... Ooh, you know what? I've never given a silver dragon egg. Let's give him a silver dragon. Oh, nope, y'all want to fight. All right, sounds good. Doom delivered. So Meraxes helped us in this battle. Quillen Goodbrother was killed by Meraxes. And, like, the curb stomp just happened. Oh my god. My lord, that was a shameful display. They have 2,367 troops. The Freys, the Blackwoods, I'm trying to see who else is also there. We almost have the province of Milkstone, and then we're gonna just immediately go for Harrenhal. We got some money out of occupying that too. Do we? Yes, I'll do it myself. Naught shall be left but ash and ruin. And I had to, okay? I had to do it. And it is now a full-on ruin. That's what I'm talking about. There's your immersion. 91%. Okay, let's go over... I don't think I clicked on the army itself. Let's go over to Godsfort. We make, like, short work of all of these. Just make it easy. 4 months. We'll take it. 99%. They have an army over here. I'm gonna go and thrash them. And we have won. Aegon's war for the Trident is over. And all of these guys become my vassal. Harrenhal's new master. Harrenhal stands whole. Harren raised those 5 monstrous towers to outlast the ages. And outlast him they have. Black and enormous above the waters of the God's Eye, behind walls no host in Westeros could hope to storm. It never came to fire. The greatest castle ever raised by men passes to me, with not a stone out of place, and the halls that were built to humble kings now wait upon mine. So vast the sea cannot sit lordless. Well, problem. I did legitimately make it a ruin, but that's besides the point. Anyway, Quinton Coherus served me long years as Master of Arms of Dragonstone, and it was he who put proper sword in my hand. His blood is blood of old Valyria, and he has fought at my side since we came ashore. To seat House Coherus at Harrenhal is to put a man I trust in the center of my new realm, and to show all Westeros that those who follow the dragon rise with him. House Hor no longer is an obstacle. The seat is mine to give, though perhaps a castle is so great should not be given at all. The dragon might keep Harrenhal for House Targaryen for now. But if I remember correctly, Harrenhal was given to House Coherus first, so I kind of want to make sure that happens. We have the option here, too, to play as Quinton Coherus, which I know a lot of you guys have been wanting me to play as this house, so there it is. I now know I can do that. Perfect. But I think I want to go ahead and hand it over. I can also gain the title for myself, but I don't want to do that. Harrenhal should be raised anew with House Coherus. Nice. And bye-bye. Choosing the Trident's Lord. The Ironborn's yoke has lifted from the Trident. 3 generations of Riverlands groaned beneath House Hor, bled for its wars and its walls. And it was the Rivermen themselves, as such my dragons, who threw the yoke off. I mean them to remember that. But a land without a lord is a land at war with itself, and the Trident must have a lord paramount to hold it to my name. 2 names weigh heaviest in my council. Edmund Tully of Riverrun was the first of the River Lords to rise for me. He called his banners while Harren yet lived, and the outcome was anything but sure. The River Lords know him, they trust him, and he is one of their own. A loyal man raised high by a grateful king. That is a lesson I would have all Westeros learn, and learn early. And yet there is Quinton Coherus, my old master-at-arms at Dragonstone, who taught me the sword and then carried one at my side. The blood of old Valyria runs in his veins, as it does in mine. A brother in arms, proven long before this conquest began. Give him the Trident, and its heart is held by a man bound to me by more than gratitude. Some at court speak, also, for the Malisters of Seaguard, an ancient and honorable line, with warships to watch the Ironmen's return. Who deserves the Trident? Well, again, I'm going to take the historical and or canon approach here, and Lord Tully rose for me first, so we will let him rise even higher. So an empty council position for my Master of Whispers. I'm going to definitely assign Lord Mallory over in here. He has the highest. And I think I kind of want to, like, sway him a little bit. Yeah, we're still going to do the basics through all of this flavor text, right? Because we definitely do not like the fact that he is minus 27. He very well might try to kill us anyway. Winter's Banners. Word comes north of the neck at last, carried by traders and a merchant captain out of White Harbor. At Winterfell, King Torrhen Stark has called his banners. They say he stood in the great hall of his forefathers beneath 8,000 years of Stark kings, and raised ice above his head, the great sword of his house, Valyrian steel, older than any grudge in the north, and that the lords of winter roared until the rafters shook. Dustin and Bolton, Umber and Karstark, Manderley and Mormont and Flint. Hard men from a hard country, none of whom has ever knelt to a power south of the neck. But the north is vast, larger than the other kingdoms of Westeros put together, and most of it empty. A muster of the north is no thing of weeks. From the last hearth to the shores of Sunset Sea, his lords must gather men across distances my southern foes cannot imagine. It may be many moons before the wolf can march. Let him gather. Whenever he comes, and however many he brings, the answer waiting for him will be the same. The wolf stirs. We will let him. The Lion and the Green Hand. The two great kings of the West have made common cause against me at last. From Highgarden marches Mern, the ninth of his name of House Gardener, king of the Reach, with the whole strength of the most fertile kingdom in Westeros at his back. Beneath the walls of the Golden Grove, he met with Loren Lannister, king of the Rock, come down out of the Westerlands with the gold-bought steel of Casterly Rock behind him. Together, my outriders swear they command a mightiest host ever seen in Westeros. 50,000 strong, 6,000 lords great and small beneath their banners, and above 5,000 knights in armor. Neither king has any love for the other. The Rock and the Reach have warred over the marches for 1,000 years, but fear of the dragon has made brothers of old enemies, and they are not waiting for me to come to them. A host that size eats the land bare wherever it stands. Already they have struck their camps at Golden Grove and turned north, through the tall grass and golden wheat, looking for my host, and a battle to end this war at a stroke. 2 crowned kings marching together with 5 men for every one of mine. This could be a problem. And we now fight against the house that I actually just recently restored the other day, which is an epic playthrough. I will put it at the end if you guys want to take a look-see at it. Let's raise up additional forces. We still have men that are unstationed. I just haven't had the time to put them in anything. It's like non-stop conflict here, man. I absolutely adore it. And honestly, yeah, like, I'm gonna clap. Whoever the mod team is that came up with this, I absolutely live for roleplay. This is absolutely incredible. You guys are amazing. And obviously, the mod is in the description. Go and show them some love. This is amazing. Go ahead and download it immediately. And then I want a 5-page paper, single-space, works-cited page on my desk by tomorrow morning on this mod and what you learned from it. Available perks, finally. Let's go with chivalric dominance. That's what I really wanted, just to make sure that our army is always really powerful. Now, where are they laying siege to? They are down here. Night grows long. Oh, I gain 81 stress because I'm diligent? Come on, man. There's one tower over here, Teal Tower. Let's go and take that first. You gotta be really careful with these ones. Like, you can barely see them. And I'm kind of hoping that these guys start marching up instead of me having to go all the way down there. I kind of do want there to be like a field of fire situation happening over here, right? Ah, yeah, so much alike. Married life, it's great. We only lost 10 stress, though. It's better than nothing, I would imagine. Okay, go over here to Candle Rush. I'm just taking a look-see. They are just down here. They don't want to have anything to do with me yet. I might just go all the way down there and thrash them. Lord Tristan's friendship. Yeah, that gains me stress. Why can't he leave me in peace? Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that right now. The 2 kings. My queens have come. Rhaenys from the Storm's End and Visenya from Cracklaw Point. And together we have raced the 2 kings to the ground of my choosing. The wide open plain south of the Blackwater, where the Gold Road will run one day. No high ground, as Oris had at the last storm. No walls, no rivers, nothing to anchor my line. Mern means to sweep around both of my flanks and drive his iron fist through my center, and on this ground he may well do it. But mark the land as I have marked it. Grass and wheat, from horizon to horizon, tall and ripe for harvest. There has been no rain for a fortnight. The day is cloudless and windy. They have the numbers, we have the sky, and the field itself is a weapon lying in wait. Draw the hosts into the crescent and wait. The Iron Fist. They came on at the sound of the trumpets, beneath the sea of banners, and I will not pretend it was anything less than magnificent. King Mern himself led the charge against my center on his golden stallion, his son Gawain at his side, bearing the great green hand upon the field of white. Roaring and screaming, urged on by horns and drums, the knights of the Reach and the Rock swept down upon my host through a storm of arrows, and my line could not hold them. The spearmen of my crescent were swept aside like chaff. My center was shattered, the iron fist punched through, and 50,000 throats howled victory. Let them howl. My men had only to bend, not break. John Mooton holds what is left of the line, and his archers are already falling back upwind, exactly as they were told. For by then, my sisters and I were in the air. I took Balerion up through a storm of spears and stones and arrows, Vagar Meraxes rising on either wing, and beneath us a whole proud host of 2 kings, spread across a tinder, dry field of wheat. Dracarys! A rain of fire. I swept the length of their ranks upon Balerion, low enough to feel their arrow rattle from his scales. bathing the iron fist aflame again and again. But it was my queens who won the day. Rhaenys and Visenya set their fires upwind of the enemy and behind them, and the day grass and standing wheat went up all at once, faster than a man can run. The wind did the rest. It fanned the flames into walls and drove the smoke into the faces of the advancing ranks. The scent of fire sent their mounts mad. Walls of fire rose on every side of them. Their proud sea of banners became a sea of flame. Lord Mutin's men waited with their bows and spears, and made short work of their burned and burning men, who came staggering out of the inferno. 50,000 men, and 2 kings never brought me to a battle at all. They brought me a kindling. The West must have a lord. They took the King of the Rock on the morrow of the battle, and have asked him to bend the knee. Before I raise him, my counselors would have me weigh what I am raising. Loren Lannister rode against me beside Mern Gardner, with all the gold-bought steel of the West at his back. And unlike Mern, he lives, because he had the wit to ride through my fire rather than stand in it. A proud man, a capable one, and the lords of the Westerlands are long used to be obeying the Rock. Confirm him, and the West changes masters in an afternoon, and gives me no more trouble. But there are other voices. The Rains of Castamere are the second powerful of the West. Red lions of Casterly's gold, rich from their mines and prouder than princes. And they were quick, very quick, that a king who fought the dragon might be better replaced by a house that would owe the dragon everything. There is wisdom in a Lord Paramount built entirely of gratitude. There is also the certainty that the Rock never forgets an insult. The Gold Lion or the Red, the West will kneel either way. The question is to whom it kneels first. So, between the two, just personal preference, I'm gonna go with Lord Loren Lannister, okay? But I love House Rain. It was my first restoration video and did really freaking well. In the future, if I decide to just play this one on my own, I would raise up House Rain. But right now, I'm just gonna confirm the Rock as the Lord Paramount of the West. And they have now become the Warden of the West. A new Lord of the Reach. When my host came within sight of Highgarden, we found its gates already open and walls unmanned. Harlan Tyrell, hereditary High Steward of the Reach, came out to meet us on foot, and surrendered the greatest castle of the South without a sword drawn, its keys, its garrison, and its treasury entire. The Green Hand burned on the field of fire. Its stewards saw no profit in burning with it. Now the greatest seat of the South is mine to bestow, and 3 names weigh in my council. Harlan Tyrell, whose house has administered the Reach for generations while the Gardeners wore the crown. Every lord of the Manor knows his seal and his fairness, and the steward raised high by the king's own hand breeds no pretenders. Lord Peak of Starpike, proud and hard, whose line boasts Gardner blood by old marriages, holds the marches that watch Dorne. Those of my counselors who mistrust unjumped household men speak his name loudest. And there is a third I did not look to find alive, a nephew of King Mern, the last living drop of Garth Greenhand's line, carried from the field of fire so burned that the maesters marvel he still yet draws breath. Give the boy the garden, and the Green Hand grows again. If he lives, and if a realm won by fire will kneel to what fire so nearly unmade. One power of the Reach stands apart. Old Town. The high towers sit behind the walls of the richest city in Westeros, and have sent neither defiance nor homage, only silence, and watchers on their towers. The old man of Old Town waits to see what the gods intend. Let him wait a little longer. The garden must have a keeper. It falls to the dragon to choose him. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Lord Harlan Tyrell. Obviously, you can still give that to the Gardeners or the Peaks, but this is what's going to happen. The wolf crosses the neck. Word reached me at Highgarden, still smelling of the field of fire's ashes. Torrhen Stark has come down through the neck at the head of 30,000 Northmen and entered the Riverlands. The king in the north has managed his muster faster than I judged possible, and he marches hard for the Trident. Every plan I had made for the south, Old Town, the marches of Dorne, is set aside as of this hour. My host turns north with all the speed it can make, and I do not ride with it. I fly ahead of them all. On Balerion's wings, the ravens go out before me. To Rhaenys, to Visenya, and to every lord who bent the knee after Harrenhal and the Field of Fire. Riverlord and Stormlander, Reachman and Westerman, all of them owe their new king a war, and I mean to collect at the Trident. Torrhen brings 30,000. Let us show him what has become of everyone else who has counted men against the dragons. So now we are at war with the North. Again, we're going to make our little pit stop right here. Was this one? Negotiate alliance? Absolutely. I don't know why it took me so long to see that. Go ahead and raise up the remainder, because now we are at 48,000 total, and we're definitely going to want to collect. King Aegon the Strong. I guess I can, take this one for now. Well, we already know who he is. He's Aegon the Conqueror. I kind of want to take a look-see at the other... Wow, look at all that. The Flowers of Peace. That's awesome. Thorns of War. Okay, all right, so this one was held by King Garth of the Reach. Same of the Thorns of War. Okay, Crown of the Storms, we knew that. Crown of the Rock and Hill. And the Circlet of the Rock. That's so sick. I haven't seen those before. Wow. Okay, let's link up our forces together, and we are going to march north. Where are they laying siege to? I do not know. A stone egg. Let's try another one. We gave him the blue dragon egg. Okay. There they come. The hosts at the Trident. The wolf has reached the Trident and found the dragon waiting. Well, we're not really there yet. We're kind of just... Well, we're here. Maybe it can work. Whatever. Torrhen Stark's 30,000 stand at the northern bank across the river. I have 5 and 40,000 river lords who remember Harrenhal, Stormlanders beneath my hands, crowned stag, and men of the Reach and Westerlands who watched 2 kings burn upon the Field of Fire. Balerion, Vagar, and Meraxes wheel above us, where every Northman may count them. Between the host stands a weathered inn. All night, greybeards and macers pass through its doors, bearing words from the northern camp. Some of Torrhen's lords urge him to yield his crown and save his people. Others bid him fall back behind Moat Cainlin, and Brandon Snow whispers of a werewood bow, a boat, and sleeping dragons. Dawn comes cold upon the river. The door of the inn opens, and the King of the North steps forth with his answer. Torrhen lays ice at my feet. The North kneels. Or, Torrhen's answer is winter is coming and let war decide. Well, we already know what happened. He is the king who knelt, so we'll have him kneel. Good job, man. So, I mean, we've done very well. Word from the Eyrie. The falcon has seen which way the wind blows. A raven from the Eyrie brings word from Shara Aaron, Queen Regent of the Vale, and this time she does not write of alliances between equals. The kings who defied me are dead or kneeling, and the Vale has no wish to join them. What she offers now is submission. Of a kind. For her terms come wrapped in silk. The Vale will bend the knee, she writes, if I take her to wife and name her boy Ronald my heir. My heir. I, who lack a son, am to promise my conquests to the falcon's chick, and folded within the letter once more a portrait. The flower of the mountain, the singers of the Vale name her, and the painter who has been diligent in earning his fee. She is a handsome woman, I will grant, and 10 years my senior, and those who name her the fairest in Westeros have plainly never once looked upon a Valyrian. Still, I do not laugh. Behind that letter stands the one kingdom left that has never been conquered, the bloody gate that has broken every host ever sent against it, and the Eyrie above the clouds, which no enemy has taken in 6,000 years. Pride wrote those terms, but stone and sky will enforce them, if I answer wrongly. A widow's hand, a mountain kingdom, and a boy on too large a throne. There is more than one way to take the Vale. No marriage, Visenya will answer the Eyrie in her own way, or I will wed Shara, the boy stands my heir until I have my own, or the Vale shall be won as the rest with fire and blood. No marriage, Visenya will answer the Eyrie her own way. I'm going to try that option. Oh, well, we saw it happen in real time. The King Who Flew. Visenya's raven from the Vale reads more like a jest than a report of conquest, and yet the Vale is mine. Shara Aaron had done everything a regent should. The bloody gate was manned and provisioned. A host stood ready in the gates of the moon, the Eyrie itself, which is A host stood ready in the gates of the moon, the Eyrie itself, which no enemy has ever taken, was stalked for siege for years. So my sister did not trouble with any of it. Vhagar rose above the giant's lance and came down in the Eyrie's own garden. And when the queen regent came rushing to her son, she found the boy king of the mountain the Vale seated in Visenya's lap, staring up at the dragon in wonder. "Mother," he asked her, "can I go flying with the lady?" Shara Eren looked at her child in the Dragon Queen's arms and understood everything that mattered in a single heartbeat. She surrendered the crown of House Eren and pledged the Vale's fealty on the spot, and Visenya, who keeps every promise she makes, granted the young Ronald his wish. The boy flew with her upon Vhagar, thrice around the summit of the giant's lance, and came back to his mother laughing. House Eren shall rule henceforth not as kings, but as lords of the Eyrie and wardens of the East. The small folk have already found the boy his name, the king who flew. A kingdom no army has ever conquered, won for the price of a dragon ride. Visenya will never let me forget it. A crown for a dragon ride. That's pretty cool. Look at them apples. So Old Town is still independent over here. Pay ransom. Hey, the empty sands. You know, I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Why are we even down here? Why do we have to go down to Dorne? Psych! Because Dorne is my favorite region in this world, okay? You say one bad thing about Dorne and you and I will have words. Rhaenys' first raven from the south tells of a war unlike any we have fought. A host of Dornish spearmen stood guard at the Prince's Gate, the gateway through the Red Mountains. So she did not go through the Red Mountains. Meraxes rose above the pass, above the red sands and the white, and came down upon the castle of Vaith to demand their submission. She found it empty. Not taken, not fled in panic, empty deliberately. To the last spear and the last sack of grain. In the town beneath the walls, only women and children and old men remained, drawing water and tending goats as though a dragon in the market square were no stranger than a dust storm. When my sister asked where the lords and fighting men had gone, they gave her one word. Every one of them, courteous and close as a shut gate. Away. Harren hid behind stone, and stone melted. Argilac came out to fight, and died. The Dornish men to hide behind the emptiness itself, and the emptiness does not burn. Rhaenys flies on towards Sunspear. If the lords of Dorne will not receive her, their princess shall. The Yellow Toad. At Sunspear, the ancient seat of House Martell, my sister found the same defiant silence. The winding alleys of the Shadow City deserted, the old palace unbarred and unguarded. But this castle was not quite empty. In her own hall, alone beneath the spear and sun banners, the Princess of Dorne sat waiting for the dragon. Miriam Martell has ruled Dorne for 60 years. She is 80 years of age, very fat, blind, and almost bald. Her skin sallow and sagging. The Yellow Toad of Dorne. Her enemies named her long ago, and most of those enemies are dust now, while she still sits in her chair. Neither age nor blindness has dulled her wits by so much as a hair, and she greeted the Queen of Westeros without rising, without fear, and without ceremony. She offered no defiance of banners or hosts. She offered something harder to answer. I will not fight you, nor will I kneel to you. Dorne has no king. Tell your brother that. I shall, but we will come again, princess. Rhaenys comes home. Meraxes has come home and my sister with her, empty-handed for the first time in this conquest. She is not accustomed to it. Neither am I. We have talked long into the night of what a Dornish war would mean, and the truth sits ill with both of us. There is no host to break there. No proud king to meet me in the field. No castle whose burning would end it. Only sand, thirst, empty keeps, and spears that strike from rocks and they're gone. Dragons win battles. Dorne offers none. To conquer the deserts would cost me years and legions. And the realm I have stitched together is too new for either. So Dorne keeps its sands, and the old woman keeps her chair for now. So let no one mistake the patience for a pardon. South and west, then. To the one great gate that has yet to open, Old Town, the High Septon, and the High Tower. It is time the faith met the dragon. The beacon of Old Town. The high tower rises above the horizon long before Old Town's walls came into view. Its beacon of pale flame against the southern sky. Beneath it lies the greatest city in Westeros, the Citadel and its grey scholars, the Starry Sept and the Father of the Faithful, dwarf crowds with half of the wealth of the realm and more souls than some kingdoms can boast. The High Septon has spent 7 days and 7 nights in prayer. Word carried from the city says the crone showed him Old Town consumed by dragonfire should the high towers resist me. Yet visions do not open gates. The Holy Council does not always master a proud lord. My host advances along the rosewood beneath the 3-headed dragon. Soon the walls sharpen through the morning haze, and the beacon atop the high tower changes before my eyes. Now shall I learn whether Old Town has heeded the crone's lamp. The dragon flies above the gates. Old Town has chosen wisely, or the beacon burns green. Old Town calls its banners. No, Old Town's chosen wisely. The high tower yields. The greatest city in Westeros did not make me break a single lance for it. As my host came within sight of the high tower's flame, we found the gates of Old Town standing open, and Lord Manfred Hightower waiting on the road to offer me his sword, his city, and his oath. The why of it is a stranger tale than the walls themselves. When word of my landing first reached Old Town, the High Septon shut himself within the Starry Sept for 7 days and 7 nights, fasting on bread and water, praying at one altar after the next. On the 7th day, he emerged to declare that the crone had raised her golden lamp and shown him the path ahead. If Old Town took up arms against the dragon, Old Town would burn. The high tower, the citadel, the Starry Sept, cast down and destroyed. Lord Manfred is a cautious and godly man. One son sworn to the warrior's sons, another lately as a septon, and he heard his father of the faithful. Not one man of Old Town burned on the field of fire, though the high towers were sworn to Highgarden of old. So the Lord knelt on the road before me and Balerion both, and made his offers, and no one offered more. The hand of his youngest daughter I declined with every courtesy. A man with 2 queens does not well collect a third. And within the city, they say, his high holiness is waiting for me. The gods of the 7 wish to crown what the sword has already won. The coronation of Aegon the Targaryen. 3 days after the gates of Old Town opened to me, I knelt beneath the dome of the Starry Sept, the black marble heart of the faith itself, and his high holiness anointed my brow with 7 oils, set a crown upon my head, and proclaimed me before gods and men. Aegon of House Targaryen, first of his name, King of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men, Lord of the 7 kingdoms, and Protector of the realm. 7 kingdoms, his high holiness said, though Dorne remains unbowed. Let the style stand as promise. A bare handful of lords stood witness when Visenya first crowned me at the Aegon fort. Hundreds fill the Starry Sept today, and among them the macers and archmacers of the citadel in their rings and masks and robes. The Grey Scribes record what the Grey Scribes witness. I do not doubt that when the histories are written, it is this day, and not the crowning by the Blackwater, that they will fix as the first of my reign. So be it. A king can be crowned twice. A realm is forged once. Thus the 7 kingdoms of Westeros hammered into one realm. By my will, my sister's fire, and now the blessing of the gods the most of my subjects hold most dear. 7 oils, 1 realm, 1 king. So now we gain the nickname of the Conqueror, we get a ton of prestige, a ton of legitimacy, increased legitimacy to 5 out of 5, gained 140 dread, which is ridiculous, and now we are converted to the faith of the 7. So at this point, we have the legend seed, we have the patron aspect, so with him, I believe the warrior is probably the best one. And we do also have the dynasty legacy now. So we have already maxed out through the Dragon Lords. And we could just go down. Oh, we have glory too. Nah, you have to know. This is me we're talking about. In noble veins, for sure. A seat for the dragon. The war is over. 6 kings bow to 1 crown, and now every lord and merchant and septon in Westeros asks the same question of me. Where shall the crown live? Dragonstone is the seat of my fathers, a fortress no fleet has ever taken, raised by Valyrian hands in the old way, with the salt and smoke on its very stones. It is strong, it is mine, and it is where my line began. but it stands on an island at the edge of my realm. And a king who rules from the edge of his realm will find that the middle forgets him. Then there is the hill where I first came ashore. At the mouth of the Blackwater, the Aegon fort is timber and mud, and the town rising around is younger than my reign. But it stands where the realm's roads and rivers meet. The small folk have already given the place a name. They call it King's Landing. So we have the option of, obviously, King's Landing here, Dragonstone. Harren built his towers to last the end of days, so we can have Harrenhal become our new realm capital, or we can have it be Old Town. But you already know, we're going King's Landing. The Black King will not kneel. A king's peace lies over the 7 kingdoms, over 6 of them at least. Beyond the Sunset Sea, upon his wet and windblown rocks, the last of House Horse still wears a driftwood crown and still names himself king. I left the Isles to him when the trident fell, and I will own now that mercy was a mistake. Harren's blood was never going to sit quiet under a dragon it did not fear. From Pike, his ravens go out, styling their master king of the Iron Islands. As though the towers of Harrenhal never stood at all, his longships have begun to trouble the western coast again, testing whether the peace has teeth. The river lords who bled under 3 generations of horrors send me letters begging the work be finished. It will be finished. One realm cannot suffer a king upon its western sea, and I did not break Black Harren's kingdom to leave his house a crown to brood over. The last war of the conquest begins now, and the fleets of Lannisport and Highgarden, the Arbor and Bear Island sail with the dragon. So I think we are going to let the Starks just deal with that, and then our force is going to head over to deal with the Iron Islands, which the Lannisters have already landed over here. For us, on the other hand, we are going to go straight for the province of Blackblood being their ancestral seat. And Lord Ronald, the king who flew, Aaron, learned how to speak High Valyrian. That's, in fact, quite impressive. And he hates me. I can't imagine why. The Aegon fort was finally built on High Hill, and there it is. That's awesome. Doom delivered. So there was a battle that took place over there. My bad. And then you'd continue to Maegor's Holdfast and then the Red Keep. And I love how the settlement formed around it. That's so cool. Ooh, there's Dreamfire. Nice. I love that. And with this war finally won, we're going to enforce our demands. So be it. The fate of the Isles. The War of the Isles is ended. The last claimants knelt on the sands of Pike and Great Wick. The driftwood crowns are ash or ocean bottom, and the Ironborn have relinquished. Forever, every claim their kings once pressed upon the Riverlands. The Isles and the rivers of Harwin Hardhand are unmade for all time. But the islands themselves must be governed. Some would set the lion over them. That's a bad idea. Casterly Rock is near, rich, and eager. And the Ironborn fear Lannisport's fleet already. Some would give them to the wolf. The North has salt water in its blood and scores its own to settle with the Reavers. And some counsel a strange course, that I let the Ironborn choose their own lord, as they chose their kings of old. Weary of blood, they would sooner kneel to one of their own than any Greenland master, and a lord who owes his rise to my sufferance, chosen by his people, is bound to me twice over. Let the Iron Man choose, the lion shall get it, or the wolf. No, let the Iron Man choose. The peace of the dragon. The conquest is done, and the realm now must be taught to live with it. From the wall to the Dornish marches, the banners of the conquered kings are struck or sworn. Save for the sun-scorched lands of Dorne, who kept their sands out of spite of every great house of Westeros now bends to Aegon. No longer is Aegon merely the Lord of Dragonstone, nor a conqueror with a half-forged crown. From this day, Aegon is King of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men, Lord of the 7 Kingdoms, and Protector of the Realm. And with the realm made one law above all others is proclaimed to every corner of it, the King's peace. From this day, no lord great or small, whatever his rank, whatever his grievance, shall make war upon his neighbor, or settle his disputes with fire and steel. The private wars that bled Westeros for 1,000 years are ended. Justice belongs to the king's law, the king's courts, and the king's peace. Those who break it will answer to the Iron Throne, and the Iron Throne has dragons. Let the lords feast and swear their oaths anew. The dragon has brought peace to a land that knew only war. And, for now, the realm is won. So look at all that. everybody is going to gain 200 opinion of us because of the Piece of the Dragon. And available perks, we're going to go with never backing down, because that's not what this man did, and that is just immersive. And this is the end of the flavor text from what I can tell. There isn't anything new that's been popping up, and I've kind of let the game run for a little bit of time. So this is where I'm going to humbly end today's playthrough. I hope you guys enjoyed. There was a bunch of flavor text. There were some epic battles in there. A lot of it was just done by reading and setting the scene, which is not bad, because, you need to have a good distribution when it comes to, making the videos and all those things. So I, again, hope the video isn't too long for you guys. This mod is truly incredible. I love the amount of special content that was thrown behind this character, definitely adding more richness, unlike the other one that I just went and, declared wars randomly. We had impactful decisions. You are able to make said decisions to change the outcome of the world. Maybe you wanted to have the Peaks rule to reach and not the Tyrells, or even have House Rain rule in the Westerlands and not the Lannisters. But regardless, I would love to know if you guys are going to be downloading this mod and are going to be going through it yourself. But until next time, thank you guys so much. Please consider like, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell button, sharing it with your friends. Hyping the videos always helps. And I'll catch you in the next one, my Rantians.